It's the country's #1 RVing radio show, sponsored by RVTravel.com, with your host, Alan Warren, the RV Wingman.
All right, we are back with our friends from RVTravel.com, their tire authority and all-around tire expert, Mr. Roger Marble. And we're discussing one of the things that all RVs have in common, that is its tires. So talk with me about driving speeds, Roger, and the things that we should know as RVers. I see a ton of people that pass me doing 75 or 80 towing a travel trailer. That can't be safe.
It's not safe, and it's not reasonable either. Trailers, as a group, most of them come with ST, that's special trailer type tires. Passenger cars come with P type, passenger type. Light truck, pickup trucks come with LT type, and trailers come with ST. Now, the load formula for figuring out how much load a tire can support for ST tires is based on 65 miles an hour max. That doesn't mean 65 for 12 hours a day. It means max. And that was developed back in the good old days when 55 miles an hour was the national speed limit. I'm old enough to remember that.
Me too.
And the thing is that I've done it myself. When I'm driving across country, I had numerous people pulling trailers pass me in Illinois and Iowa as I'm headed out west, and I set my cruise at 63. And they're just blowing by me. And a few of them I passed again a few hours later. Of course, they're on the side of the road changing a tire. No lie.
And then they're blaming it on the tire, right?
Absolutely. Now,
the
other thing is, that's right. But the other thing is that if you look at the technical literature, which you can find online, for Goodyear or Bridgestone or Michelin for the Class A tires. Those are the big 22.5s that you see, 22 5-inch rim diameter. You will see it says there 75 miles an hour max.
Gotcha.
So, all we can do in the tire industry is say you should not be running faster than 65 with the trailer tires or 75 with all the others in RV application.
Well, I got to tell you, you have a blowout with a travel trailer. It's not only expensive, but it can be deadly. It can absolutely take your life. We've got Larry from Southern California. Goose, can you pull Larry up? Larry, you're on with Roger Marble, the tire expert. Go ahead.
Hi, Roger. I get confused. I'm trying to learn how to read the numbers on the side so I can tell the date on my tires.
Okay. What all tires have is what's called a DOT serial that starts with the three letters, D-O-T, and then there's 8 to 13 letters and numbers that follow. Okay? The key is the last four numbers. So let's say you get DOT and C7, Q9, et cetera, but the last four, if they say like 4614, that tire was made in the 46th week of 2014. So if the last four numbers were 0209, that would be the second week in 2009. Do you follow?
I think we've got a graphic on the screen. Go ahead.
I can't look at that while I'm on the phone.
It's the last four numbers.
All tires have these numbers. Now, got to be careful. Some tires do not have the date code, which is four numbers, on the outside, which makes it easy. So it's like, the whole tire industry made sure it was as difficult as possible. We make sure the tires are always mounted with the date to the inside. And I, quite frankly, tell some people, find a 12-year-old, give them a flashlight and $5 and on a nice afternoon, have him crawl around and get the dates for you. But it's the last four numbers.
I just saw them, and I'm scared now.
Why?
It's 0306. They're old.
Well, that's the third week of 2006, which means they're more than 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's time to replace them.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. All right, Larry, hopefully that helps. I've got another question, Roger, from somebody posted, wants to know, do tire covers actually help a tire last longer?
Yes. So, I write a blog, RVTireSafety.net, and I did a test a few years ago where I took an infrared thermometer, where those things you can shoot with a little gun and get a temperature reading. And I compared the temperature of tires in the shade, tires in the sun, a white vinyl cover hung over the tire, and the temperature of the tire under the cover. And after a couple of hours of sun exposure on my RV, what I found was that, and it was warm. I think it was like 85 or almost 90 degrees that day. So it was a hot day, but the tire in the shade was in the high 80s. The tire under the cover was only 1 degree hotter than the white cover in the full sun, and that was in the low 90s. However, the tire that I had left exposed to the sun was 136.
Wow.
Now, remember I talked earlier about that clock ticking and how fast that tire that was 136, that's 18 degrees hotter than the one that was under the cover. That means its clock is ticking 4 times as fast as the tire that's under the cover.
Good grief. That is excellent information. That is so cool.
If people, subscribe to RVTravel.com, that's a daily and weekly RV newsletter. My posts are referenced there. So RVTravel.com is, a good way to just learn about RV stuff in general, but they link to my blog on Saturdays. The Saturday issue has a link to my blog, and once you get there, I've got over 350-odd posts just on RV tires.
It's amazing. All right, got another question. In terms of what ply, if the weight load is the same on a 6-ply as well as an 8-ply, why pay the extra money for the 8-ply?
All right. If you only have the load for the load range D, which is your 6-ply, or excuse me, ply is an old term, Alan. What we've got is load range. So we've got C, D, and E are going to be in trailers and Class Cs. So if you've got a C, the inflation is 50, D is 65, and E is 80 PSI. You only get the load capacity if you inflate it to that level. If you only need the load capacity of a D, which is 65 PSI, that's fine. 65 is all you have to put into it.
Okay.
Did I get things confused there?
I think I understand. Jim has posted. He wants to know if Michelins are really worth the extra money. He says he loves a smooth ride, but is wondering if they're worth the extra cost.
Michelin will tell you they are.
Of course they will. Well, hey Roger, I guess let me ask you this: if money were not an object on your Class C motorhome, what tire would you go buy, Roger Marble? You can buy any tire you want. What would you buy for your RV?
I would probably. I'm a lightweight Class C. Okay, so I just barely need load range E. Okay. But I could. They're 16-inch. I could go with all steel commercial tires. Those are expensive, significantly more expensive than a standard light truck tire.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that, in general, now this is going to go against the first question you asked me about, is Michelin worth the price? In general, you're going to get a little bit what you pay for, in general. But if you've got a major tire company, that would be Goodyear, Bridgestone, Michelin, or their subsidiaries. Now, don't forget, Bridgestone and Firestone is the same corporate. Okay? Mm-hmm. Michelin and Goodrich are the same corporate. And Goodyear has 2 or 3 other brands that do not say Goodyear on them. Go on the internet and you can find out who makes what. I believe that it's impossible for me to say in this size, Company X makes the best tires, while in that size, it may be Company Q makes the best tire.
You're not making this very easy for us, are you?
I'm not. Part of the thing is you're buying a dealer service network. I talk about the tire store, Billy Joe Bob's Cheap Tire and Bait Emporium.
Yeah.
I would not buy anything from them. Because if you have a problem, Billy Joe Bob only has one store. So if you're out of the country, out of the state, how are you going to get service? Whereas if you go with a name brand major tire company, they're going to have 1,000, 2,000 dealers across the country, which means you can get better service.
Okay, gotcha. Let me move on to another question. Somebody just sent this to me. On a Michelin 22.5, how much tire pressure is safe past the recommended maximum tire pressure? Because remembering, tires get hot when they're running.
Okay. First, this is true for all tires. All tires get hot when you drive on them. When they get hot, the inflation goes up. Tire engineers know this. It's not a secret. The number on the side of the tire is the inflation when the tire is cold. And that doesn't mean you got to put it in the refrigerator. It just means not in direct sunlight and has not been driven for the previous couple of hours. As long as you don't exceed the cold inflation, the hot inflation, the running inflation, the tire is fine.
It will adjust
Please
to that and it can handle it.
Air out of a hot tire.
Okay. Let me ask you the question again about China bombs. The things that people every day on Facebook, I hear people complaining. I've replaced my China bombs with such and such. What are your thoughts on that? I know that's got to be just a slang term. Do you think that there are really crappy tires out there, and that RV manufacturers buy the cheapest, crappiest stuff they can, knowing that it's just junk? Or do you think that there's some operator failure in this thing, not realizing that they've got low tire pressure and that kind of thing? Or both?
Well, if the tires were bad, then, and you got 4 China bombs on your RV, then all 4 of them should fail, and they should fail early. I mean, in the first couple thousand miles. And they should all fail the same way. In other words, if the factory did something wrong, made a mistake, used the wrong rubber somewhere in the tire, why would 1 tire fail and 3 tires be good for 5 or 6 years? Doesn't make any sense. The China bomb thing is just like crappy RVs from Indiana.
So
80-90% of the RV trailers are made in Indiana.
Yes.
Why would you expect to not have 80 or 90% of all the complaints about quality in RVs to be about RVs built in Indiana?
Are most tires made overseas now? Are there any American tire companies that actually make them
there's
here?
lots of American tire companies that make passenger, light truck, and heavy truck. Now, right now, I think, and please don't hold me to this because I can't, there's no way I can keep up with what every tire company is doing, but right now, I think Goodyear is the only one making an ST-type tire in the United States. But the amazing thing about China bombs is when you look at the code, and there's ways on the internet to find out where every tire is made, because back to that DOT serial. Tires are coming from Vietnam, they're coming from India, they're coming from China, they're coming from Taiwan, they're coming from Mexico, they're coming from Brazil, and I just keep going. Mm-hmm. There are still a lot of tire plants tires made here in the United States. In fact, there is a China bomb tire company that is building a plant in the United States. So what's going to happen when we start having China bomb tires made in the United States?
Well, people love to complain, so you know what's going to happen. They're going to complain. Let's go back up to North Carolina again. We've got Chris on the line. Chris, you're on with Roger Marble. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Roger if the tire monitoring systems are a safe bet, because they monitor your tire pressure on each tire, and they also monitor your temperature. And I put one of those on my fifth wheel, and I religiously watch that. Of course, you can program parameters in there. I'm sure you're familiar with those.
Yep. Matter of fact, the first thing I purchased after buying my first Class C back in 2009 was a tire pressure monitoring system. That's how much I believe in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People say, "Oh, I can go out and I can hit it with a baseball bat," or I check the pressure every time I stop at a rest stop or fuel stop. Yeah, but I also picked up a piece of barbed wire in the exit row of a campground I stayed at once. So just because you check the pressure doesn't mean that you didn't pick up a drywall screw as you left the RV campground. So one of the biggest advantages with tire pressure monitoring systems is they are monitoring continuously, and they will give you a warning within seconds of the pressure starting to drop. Okay.
Now that's the reason I got one, and
that's good. That's good. The other nice thing about them is when you've got them on, got your TPM system on your RV. In the morning, when you get up, you can turn your tire pressure monitoring system on, and while you're having your cup of coffee, the individual sensors are sending in their signal because there's nothing bad to report, so they only report about every 5 to 15 minutes, depending upon the brand. But if they haven't lost pressure, they're not in a hurry to report because they want the battery life to last. But while you're having your cup of coffee, I say the tire pressures, the sensors, have all phoned home. And so then you go back to your driver's seat and you can run and look at all your pressures. You do not have to get out, down on your knees, get your gauge out, and try to measure the tires. And after you do this a few times, you won't have to look at notes, or you will know the range, the normal range of pressures for your tires every morning when you wake up, and you'll say, everything's fine. So it saves you work. You don't have to get out when it's raining and check your pressure.
Exactly.
Does that help you, Chris?
What about the temperature reading? And the other question was, is these tire monitoring systems also check your temperature? And
yes, they do. And quite frankly, I wish they didn't.
Whether or not I'm over. Yeah,
they're okay. No, they're okay, but they're not. They cannot measure the hot spot. The hot spot, and I learned this when I was testing Indianapolis tires. The hot spot is in a RV tire is going to be about a half inch into the tread at the shoulder of just off the edge of the tread, and you need a hypodermic needle with a thermocouple that you actually stick into the tire, because that's the hot spot. Tire temperature goes up, and people get terrified, and then they do something really bad. They see the temperature go up, and they see the pressure go up, and then they bleed hot pressure off. That's one of the worst things you can do. Don't do that. You only adjust pressure when it's cold.
All right, Chris, we got you got anything else for Roger?
That's it. Thank you so much, Roger. I appreciate it.
All right, Chris, you hang on. Goose is going to take care of you here. All right, so Roger, I want to, as we kind of try to wrap this thing up a little bit, do you see any earth-shattering improvements down the road in terms of tires in our future? I mean, just not really, or we're pretty much there, or does technology have a long ways to go with tires?
Well, I'll tell you, I just posted a week or so ago a video that I found on the internet of tires being built in the modern factories today. And there is nothing in the video other than the fact that you don't see human beings doing it. It's all, automation. But there's nothing in the video that a guy that built tires 50 or 60 or maybe even 70 years ago would not recognize.
Really?
Basically, now, we're always making improvements. We're always tweaking the strength of the rubber. We're always tweaking the temperature resistance so they can tolerate a little bit higher temperature. But, it's still rubber, and it's still steel, or it's still polyester, and you got to put air in the tire. No, I don't see anything magic in tires. I see small incremental improvements. It's just like cars. If you got a 57 Chevy and you got a brand new Chevrolet, they're essentially the same. Now, you got fuel injection, but it's still gasoline and air goes in, a spark plug lights it off, and you drive down the road.
The principle's the same. All right, listen, you are such a great resource. We're going to wrap this thing up. For all things tire-related, I guess people can find you at rvtravel.com and then just type in your name, and there's hundreds of videos and columns and blogs that you've written that people can access for free, right?
That's right. It's all free, and every Saturday, RVtravel.com posts a link to my latest post, and from there it opens into the wonderful world of tires.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. I know we spent a lot of time today talking about tires, but I think we only scratched the surface. You take care, and we'll do it again soon, okay?
Okay, Alan.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, folks, that was Roger Marble. He's a retired tire engineer, and he is one smart dude. What do you think? Did you learn some stuff? I hope you did. He's a smart guy, very, very open about sharing his knowledge with us common folk out here. If you'd like to learn more, go to rvtravel.com/radio. Take you 10 seconds to subscribe. It's my favorite online newsletter about the RV lifestyle, where you can connect with Roger and all kinds of other great experts on the wonderful thing we call RVing. rvtravel.com/radio. And until next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, reminding you, don't leave those good manners at home. So long, everybody.